Awesome. We are being live streamed. We are being recorded, and you all hit the got it, which means you consent to it. So thank you all for being here. This is my second class in the Couch to Content series. I see some familiar faces, so thank you so much for coming out. Greatly appreciated. It's a beautiful sunny day in Maine, and I preface that because part of my presentation, it's got a little bit of a weather element, as I like to keep things fresh and relevant, which I think ties right into making videos. So I just wanted to reflect back on last second Tuesday of April. We spoke in that class, kind of a brief overview about getting ready for video, bringing yourself to video, how to work towards bringing your authentic self to video. And because there are a couple of you who are here last time, any thoughts, any revelations? I know both of you have been practicing the craft. Bill, just want to say a welcome to you as well. But just curious, wanted to throw it out. Anyone have any comments after the last one?
I think just doing it is important, right? Like no analysis paralysis, just get in front of the camera, make it happen.
Yeah. And you've been super consistent, like 3 a day. You've just done it. And no matter where you are, what you're doing, you're showing up. It's awesome to see. Great work. Alex, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Randy said, I think it's really like, yeah, you just do it. And I think I find anyway, when I'm too formulaic with it, or when I'm too prepared with it, it just doesn't seem to come off, well, I guess quite as authentic, which makes total sense. But yeah, you know, some degree of like preparation as far as the topic is concerned, but as far as the delivery, I find that the videos come across a little better when they're almost less polished in a way.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Totally. I think it's easy to get lost in the, do I need the polish? Maybe some people I watch have a lot of polish, but before they had polish, they might not have had the polish, and so we all got to start somewhere. Oh, thank you. There's a presenter window covering. How do I get rid of that? Can I just hide it? Hide floating video panel, hide. Sorry, they're just telling me that we have an annoying little screen covering it. Do you guys see that presenter window?
Yeah, Chris, I've got it. It's Bill. I've got it in my screen. It says presenter window, got it. And I tried to get rid of it. And I just wonder if I can exit out here. No?
Got it.
And I hit got it and it doesn't work.
How about now?
Try got it. No?
No. I think what it is, I'm presenting in Canva. So let me see if is that.
Oh, you did it. It's gone now.
Great. Now we just need to go back to full screen. Oh, just bear with me. I'm sharing that screen. We just blew through all of our slides. No biggie. Let me see if I can pause that. Take it back. Here we go. And then I hit this. Is that looking better?
Yes. And Chris, just one question I have is,
Bill.
Would it be possible to get a recording of this after this session's over?
Yes, my understanding is the Real Academy team records everything. This is being recorded. I don't control when it or where it gets posted, but what I've found is you can always go back to Workplace, go in the search tab in the upper left, and you will be able to type in the audience writes the script and you will find this, okay?
Okay, good.
Yeah, awesome. Do you guys see the slides on the bottom of my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Guys, just bear with me one more time. I know what to do. I'm gonna get rid of presenter view. Now we good?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, sweet. So Bill, I don't know if we've met yet, but this is me and my family. We just had a neighborhood potluck this weekend, and this is us running home from that. I live in Falmouth, Maine. I'm a father of 2 amazing daughters. I love to run, swim, and ski uphill. I have my 5th marathon this Sunday, which I'm super excited about. I do work on a TV show in Maine called Maine Life Media. You can search it on YouTube. I've had some new episodes come out in the last 2 weeks highlighting some incredible organic farms in Maine. And I'm the team lead on the Places in Maine team. Sold over 130 homes in my 5-year career. And right now I have 10 agents in my real network, of which I'm incredibly grateful for. So that's me, and that's my family. And again, I
Wow.
appreciate all the time you guys are spending today.
Yeah, yeah. I have a cousin. She's an artist that lives in Maine, and her
Oh, no
husband's a
kidding.
doctor. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You should come visit them, because this time of year is the best time to be here, Bill.
Yeah.
Well, right on. So here's the agenda. It's pretty simple. We got some welcome. We're going to get into some scripting. We're going to focus on technique. We're going to identify our audience today, challenges those audience might have, a solution we could bring to the table. We're going to jump into just ask you guys to participate and see what you got for some kind of off the hip script stuff. And then I always like to end talking about the video warm-ups I like to do and what we can all do to follow up after this session to help keep each other accountable and keep challenging ourselves to create more video content. Oh, we're starting to get a lot more people, guys. This is awesome. Thank you so much. If you missed my intro, my name is Chris. I'm up here in a beautiful state of Maine. And now that we seem to have a big crew, one thing I really wanted to go over after my last Real Academy class was you're starting to get a lot of questions of, what do I say? How do I do it? And also a lot of fears of, I go to do it and I don't trust what I'm going to say, or I feel like what I have to say doesn't matter. And I have those same feelings too. Those fears, I had it today at around lunchtime, whereas at 9 a.m. I was feeling super jazzed and I could have made any video in the world. So particularly for me, a challenge I have is focusing on the video, not on my mood. One way I've found to help with that is just essentially write out the mission at hand. And in this case, we're going to talk about creating that video around a formula to help you deliver your content in a way that doesn't feel like you're just getting into a black hole of I could literally say anything or do anything. Does that sound good, guys? I'll take your word for it.
It sure does.
Awesome. Thank you. I find the most important thing with video and a lot of honestly what we do in real estate is just taking a moment before you do it. Start fresh. No matter what we're going through, whether it's a tough deal, whether it's a great deal, whether it's an amazing client, or we just had the most incredible prospecting call, separating out the video work as something that we need to do to help sustain our business. It's 2023. Everyone is watching video. And I assume you're all joining me today because you want to incorporate more video or have a bigger skill set or draw on some other technique to help you get there. So let's start fresh, everyone. Just take a breath with me, no matter where you are, even if you're on the phone. Here we go. I find my eyes even just get the slightest watery if I take a true deep breath. And through my work in the acting profession, to me, it's that moment of true vulnerability when you really take a deep breath and you just take a pause and you have a moment to silence the world. Then you really come from a place of an authentic delivery. Your voice might change a little bit. You might realize, what am I going through? That's all just gold when it comes to the video. We're all unique. Our perspective matters. People want to know what we have to say about our market, the local hamburger stand, where we should go this weekend to get out. And we also have a story right now. And I think it's important to realize that no matter what the market is doing, no matter what the media is doing, our story that we're going through, whether it's in life and or in real estate, super important to feel that you can share that and that people want to hear it. Not everybody, but those you want to attract will want to hear it. And those are the people who are going to then hopefully reach out to you for real estate. This last bullet is super important and one I just find so inspiring. And it's why I included this picture Sunday night. hit 70 degrees here in Maine for May. That's incredible. We go to the beach, even though the ocean water is about 50 degrees. My two daughters were loving it. And this was just a moment where a wave was crashing and they had the impulse to just turn around and book it back up the sand. And what I find in my video work is I might have a moment in a building inspection where all of a sudden I have an impulse to create an educational video for potential buyers. I might have a tough learning moment with my team that I want to share with other people through video to see if that's something they relate to. And those impulsive moments, I think, are the most important, especially in what I find with my experience, as golden nuggets to start realizing maybe that's when I should make a video. Hit the record button. You have that impulse, get it out to the world. So those are just a few ways that I want you to start maybe thinking or incorporating into your video work and get it going. Does anyone else have those impulses or, you know, just something to share? Feel free to get off mute. Or those moments of inspiration that you feel are also gold? That's okay.
Well, for myself, Chris, I'm actually a real estate coach and trainer, and I actually teach techniques and scripts and presentations on how to be able to get listings, how to overcome objections, how to beat out the competition. Okay.
Nice.
What I like to do is I like to make just small videos. And when I say small videos, like 2-3 minute videos on tips on what to say, because what you say really does matter as far as getting listings. But what I'm really trying to do, though, is improve on the quality of the videos that I send out.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's what I find.
Quality meaning what camera you're using, what your light setup is, how you edit, what caption program you use.
Yes. Like in other words, you know, the decent background, everything else, that's really, really important. You know, like I say, the quality of the actual video, I think is what I'm trying to, you know, achieve, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think depending where people are on their journey with video, sometimes it just starts super raw in front of the lens, selfie style. And then to your point, as you get more and more comfortable, maybe you have more of a product of a video, right? Whether that's a training module or anything like that, adding those in, it's just another way of making it more fun, keeping it fresh, and certainly changing the presentation. Because I think for agents, you're going to have one presentation, and then, you know, as we look to engage with prospects or clients, it's a different look, it's a different feel, yet you are the constant through both of them. Right on. Bill, thank you so much. That's really cool to hear. And I assume we'll probably be seeing you teaching one of these too. The last piece I just wanted to throw in about kind of prefacing all of this is, you know, what is your morning mantra? I find it's really important for myself to start my video work in the morning. And that doesn't mean I'm necessarily making videos, but I'm getting ready. I'm getting a sweat on if that's what the morning called for. It's a moment to myself. Maybe it's a breathing exercise, but our days, I'm sure, all go in 100 million different ways and they're never predictable. But that moment in the morning, we can control 9 times out of 10. And I would encourage the focus to really start there. So when you get to that moment of impulse, at least you feel like you're already on your way to getting that video done. Great. To script or not to script. Now I know a few people in this group are in different parts. And again, there are so many different types of video to make that I think serve our needs as business owners and marketers and brands. And I'm just curious for those in the room, you know, when do you feel you need to script a video, and when do you feel you don't need to script a video?
Well, the thing I think about is I really think if we do a video, it needs to be well thought out, because no one wants to sit and watch a video where, it's totally aimless. You wonder, well, what's the guy's point? And he just rambles on and on and on, like an idiot,
Yeah.
And so, like, even though I teach scripts and everything, what I always teach my students is I always say, look, you never want to be a mindless parrot. When you study a script, you want to think of what the substance actually is. What's the thought behind the script? And that way, when you're in a listing appointment and you're nervous and your mind blanks out and you forget the words that you're going to use, think of the thought. You always want to think of your scripts as being actual thoughts. And after a while of practice and everything, it becomes internal, where actually that script becomes part of you because it's an actual thought, right? So
yeah.
If that makes sense. What I'm kind of wondering is, Chris, is if, afterwards you take my email and everything and address, I'd really like to maybe coordinate something with you, that we could do together.
Great
webinar,
Yeah, we can definitely make that happen. I'll reach out after, Bill.
Yeah.
That's great. I think you've hit the nail on the head, Bill. I think in terms of I always relate it back to acting, but you go up on stage, you have the script so much ingrained in your body, and you've rehearsed that muscle over and over again, that if the door is supposed to open at the end of your line and it doesn't open, you don't pull out of the moment because you're like, why doesn't the door open? You just react to that moment because you have the script inside you. And that's the magic, I think, of what a script can do. And you can relate that to you might have a 60-second script. Chat GPT wrote it. It's, I want to talk to all out-of-state buyers moving to New England. Here's my script. I'm going to research it. I'm going to study it. I'm going to get it in my body. And you go to film, a car could go by, a bird, a siren, your camera could fall down. It's all good stuff. It might not work necessarily for that video, but the point is, be open to what might happen. Because truthfully, what people want to see is how we react to the unknown moments. And that's where I think a lot of magic happens. And I'll just offer does anyone want to offer a different point on scripting and how they kind of feel about that? Yeah, Al.
I think and not to go against what you're saying, Bill, because I agree with a lot of that. But I think it depends on the format in which you're using, perhaps, and the content that you're targeting. So if it's, a YouTube video, you're certainly going to want like all your ducks in a row, I think, in terms of, and if you're presenting content that's market related or educational in its background, that's pretty important to come off, I think, as an organized person, both in your presentation and your thoughts. However, I will also say that some of my favorite videos to just kind of watch or look at are those ones that are like complete spontaneity. Now, mostly those aren't having to do with, I would say, educational material or like market-based material, perhaps. But I think there's real value in that as well, and just like getting to know the person behind the presentation.
Yes,
that could be the title of the next one: the person behind the presentation.
I definitely agree with you there, Alex. And I think, Chris, you could probably relate to this, is that with scripts, when we learn them so well, and they actually become part of us, it's just an automatic thing, It's just like if someone were to ask me, well, like in real estate, a lot of times people, as soon as you walk in the door of a listing appointment, they say, well, what's your commission? Okay. Yep. Well, if you tell them exactly what your commission is, then they say, thanks for coming, have a nice day. And meantime, they're comparing your commission with the next guy, right? Yeah. So what I always do is I always teach what we call a commission deferral. And so if someone asks me, Bill, what's your commission? Well, I'm really glad you asked that. In fact, that's one of the reasons that you're going to benefit working with me, is that bearing in mind that commission's actually a marketing tool. I allow my sellers to choose their own commission. And of course, we'll go over that right after we've discussed the price. And then, of
Yep.
course, then if they press me some more, well, can't you give me some kind of idea, some kind of range? Once again, you get to choose the commission. You get to choose it. But let's hold off choosing the commission until after we go over the price together. And in that way, I can actually show you how we can use commission as a marketing tool. We'll end up putting more money in your pocket. Does that sound fair? You see? So once again, it becomes internalized. And I've always found through experience, because let's face it, we're really in a competitive business in real estate, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so therefore, because it's so competitive, every word really does count, what we say to people and how we maneuver things, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Does that make sense to you, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that script. So I'm like jotting it down on the side here.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, what I'm thinking is, you're welcome, Alex. What I'm thinking is, if Chris and I do a webinar together, we'll, for sure invite you to come on, you and Randy there.
I will be there.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
It takes a village. Yeah, some key takeaways. There's a spontaneity video. If you follow me on Instagram, I do them all the time. They tend to be very spur of the moment. They're not so much thought out as this is me in my natural state sharing what I'm going through. And I've learned that being vulnerable and sharing what I'm going through really relates to my audience. Also, when I do YouTube videos, definitely script it out, sometimes even just bullet point it out to make sure I'm hitting on the points that are important, for the Googs, and also to have a complete thought, to Bill's point. I found this quote prepping for this. The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. John F. Kennedy, not fully what he was going for in terms of how I'm thinking about it, but I just think anytime you have the inspiration, you have the time, you should be thinking about, what video am I going to make right now? How am I going to get that video done? Because once spring markets hit, we get really busy. It's really easy to push that part aside. I'm guilty of it right now. So whether that was, literally a rainy day or maybe just an admin day, can you just take 5 minutes and crank out a video? So time blocking has been successful for that. Whatever inspirational fuel you might have, and also just collaboration. Like there will be times where, Alex might say, hey, should I do this? Or, Randy and we could collaborate on a video. If you're ever feeling stuck, like you don't want to do it, invite someone else to convince you to do it or share in that with you. Instagram Live makes it so easy to invite people and just have a discussion. So there are some really great ways to feel like you're having something to talk about, a way to do it, and keeping the content machine moving to help move your business forward. And I just thought it'd be relevant to include the underside of a roof from the 1700s I witnessed this past weekend, because that thing is still standing, even though the foundation might be going away. But that's my connection to a roof. And just to say, we got a lot of old houses up in Maine. So to get a bit into the technique, and we touched on this in the first class, this is just one area I think helps me anytime I look at my Instagram or I look at YouTube and I feel I haven't created something. What I go to is, who do I want to talk to? What is the challenge they may have? And what is a solution I can present? Audience, challenge, solution. It's very easy to just get lost in the, I need to make video, or, oh my gosh, everyone at Reel does videos. I want to be like Brad McCallum, but I don't know where to start. Everyone starts somewhere, but I think what you should be focusing on is, what is one way I can get my perspective out in front of my audience? So the audience can be many different people, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But really asking the question, who is this for? We don't always make videos for everyone. We put up a Christmas card or a Valentine's card on Facebook, and generally that's for everyone to feel pretty good. Usually it's just the people who we're connected to. But now with social media, we can put out more direct perspective and they're going to figure out a way to get that in front of new eyes. They're going to figure out who really wants that little tidbit of information. And so thinking about who you could attract through your video is pretty powerful way to go about it. I think you could probably start with a challenge and then figure out an audience. I always like to start with an audience and then figure out a challenge they may have. And then really asking yourself, why do they need to hear it? Similar to the what is my why, right? But in this moment, put a little weight behind it, because I think once we give something credibility, we give it weight, we give it a value, then it makes our job that much more important to do it and do it well. Takes out the whole willy-nilly aspect of it and reminds us that what we're providing for education and value is just super important. And then ending with, my solution is this. So if the challenge is, their roof is really old, I happen to know a roofer who has availability the next 4 days. DM me to find out. That could be one solution, just working off the roof. I recently gave a referral out to a broker out in San Diego, and talk about knowing your audience. He sent me this amazing kit called Live Your Best Life in San Diego. It had 10 of his favorite things from San Diego: coffee, a spice rub, there was some alcohol, there was a sticker. And I think that's just one fun example of someone who knows their audience, right? And then now I am really connected to that broker because they went out of their way to send this box to thank me for that referral. It's also just a shout out of how awesome Real is, because I think we do have some of the best brokers and most thoughtful ones. So just want to shout out to Dan in San Diego for having a great referral tidbit there. Any questions on this initial audience challenge solution? The next 3 slides, we're going to break down each one, but any thoughts that come up, or is anyone, already incorporating this into their practice when it comes to putting out these marketing videos?
One question I do have is, okay, I think we've all seen Brad McCallum videos.
Truth.
And they're quite well done. What about what other occasions do you think realtors should really use videos for? Like, just one that comes to my mind is if you've got repeat clients and you have their email address, and it's perfectly fine to send them an email. If you sent them a monthly email as to an update on real estate activity that's happening in their area, that would be one way that we could do emails, with videos. Does anyone have any other ideas that we could use videos as realtors?
I'll jump in here. I mean, I know that I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag here, Chris, but I'm part of Chris's team within the Real Brokerage umbrella. And one thing that Chris has encouraged us to do is, in conjunction with sending an offer and perhaps an email explaining the highlights of that offer, our team has made it a habit to also present a really quick, like 60-second video, again, kind of highlighting the different details of that offer in a really confidential yet personal way. And we've gotten really great responses from, listing agents or whoever might be receiving that video.
Wow, that's quite interesting. Yeah. See, that's one thing. That's why I came on here, was to try to learn new things, eh? And that was good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank
Very
you,
good.
Alex.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, Bill, a couple other ideas that I love to do. Just going into a local store, coffee shop, and just saying, hey, can I do a little social media video? Can I interview a barista? And just open with, hey, I'm here at, the Roasted Bean. This is Terry making me an oat milk latte. I love coming here to do work. They've got great Wi-Fi. Next time you're on 123 Main Street, check them out. I've found people love the community video aspect because it's not about the realtor. It's about the local business. And that's a nice way to use kind of our public image and our need of marketing ourselves to better other people in the community.
You know, that's really smart. And that's the right attitude to have, is always think about what you can do for others, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. And I think maybe through this, we'll get some more ideas out. That's a great question, Bill. Alex, great on the offer email, a community spotlight, re-engaging with your client base through emails, through video, past clients, market updates. Also, just here are 3 tips to get your house ready to sell. And that can go out to past clients too, because we want to continue to help them realize that, we're the leader in the community to help them with their real estate needs.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let's move to audience, because we're kind of already getting there. Bill, you already threw out like one of our audiences could be our past clients, right? And I think even within past clients, there are a few more micro categories that we could help identify to reach. So to kind of get the ball rolling, I threw out 3. And you can kind of see where I'm going with when I think about audience. I like to think pretty micro in an effort to really be precise with my video. And I've learned that by looking at others, particularly the thumbnail. When you look at the top people on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, you look at their thumbnail and you can generally understand what that video is about. And the more specific it is, I find personally, the more willingness I have to click on it. So Joe Herrera, real estate agent from Vegas, out of Reel. He's great. If you look at his Instagram page, it's super clear what each of his videos are about, or it's interesting enough to make you look at it. So a few I have here, it could be a lifestyle change. So I'm going to try to target everyone who is thinking about farming. And this is like during COVID, right? Everyone around Maine was like, I'm going to move out of Portland and I'm going to go buy a little farm because it's really hard to get produce right now. That's one audience where I think you could have a lot of fun figuring out what their challenge and solution is. The downsizer, one I talk about a lot. Maybe their house is too big. Maybe they have a ton of equity. How can we get in front of them to either help them think about selling, or maybe first, before they think about selling, we need to help them think about what it's like to live smaller. What does that mean for them? What does that open up for their lifestyle and their opportunity? They don't need to own a lawnmower anymore if they live in a condo. The out-of-stater is a great audience to play to. Now, I only left 3 lines, guys, so we only have to come up with 3 more examples before we hit that next slide.
Come to Maine if you love lobsters.
Come to Maine if you love lobsters. Absolutely. I would say that would be like a vacationing tourist crowd, right? There's huge opportunity in any tourist community to attract people enough to be like, hey, maybe you come here once a summer. Why don't you get an investment property and we can Airbnb it most of the time, but you'll have a place to land and maybe it'll pay for itself. That's a great idea. And you took a very common thing like Maine lobster, right? And it's like, yeah, there's something there. So I think that's great.
One thing I think about is, that example you used of like being in a coffee shop there and interviewing, what do they call them again?
Barista.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, exactly. Well, just remember, not every restaurant out there sells lobsters, but in Maine, most of them would be. And so therefore you go in there and you're interviewing, because once again, that really is an attractive thing, for people that are from out of state.
Yep, absolutely. Some might say our economy is built on it.
Yeah.
That and blueberries. and as of late, cannabis, but that's dwindling. What else? All right, that was a great one. Lobster, which led us to the the tourist who might want a place to vacation to. Any type of other audiences, maybe in your local markets that you're thinking about? Different styles of neighborhoods, different states have different ways of living.
Well, let's put it this way, like, just like you said earlier there, you said about, Maine is well known for, the older homes. And that's something that not every place has, our older homes, right? And so
Yeah.
once again, with some people, that's really their dream, eh? I know I
Yeah.
used to live in Ontario, around Kingston, and I had a great big huge 3,600 square foot Victorian home, and it was all brick, and it was a beautiful home, eh? And I mean, they're like one of a kind type of a thing. You just can't go out, and you can't go out and just buy one or build one,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
once that's all part of really trying to sell lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I think it's lifestyle, and maybe you even go a little more granular. In that case, I think it's like a very specific taste of house. And for someone who maybe is in a more urban area or a newer city population like out west, and they're not sure what it means to have a house with like hand-hewn beams in the basement, then it's a matter of how do we help them get comfortable with that, or how do we remodel those houses to just retain their historic charm yet have a modern luxury to them so we feel comfortable,
Right.
have less spiders.
Yeah, and you guys have a lot of ticks too, I understand.
We love those. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're great. Randy, what about you out in Utah?
Yeah, I think you could target, like, obviously you have downsizers there, but you could target maybe celebrity attraction kind of situation. They call Utah Silicon Slopes. So we obviously have a large tech sector. So it falls a little in line with the out-of-stater, but you can kind of group it together to grab a subsector within your larger
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Just Silicon Slopes sounds like an amazing handle, first of all, for Instagram, but also like a character, right? And then whether you know any celebrity or not, you're the funny guy who markets that, like, that could have some incredible legs and attention. Similar to our guy on Staten Island who just calls things out very monotone, right? He's created a character now that everyone knows. I can send that to anyone who's unfamiliar with that gentleman, but he's taking over the internet. Cool. So that's just a quick little way to like think about the different audiences. I think depending on your communities, you might have golf course communities that could be an audience. You could have, like you said, like a tech sector or a big university system, and maybe they're attracting professors. In Maine, healthcare is one of our largest industries. So we have a lot of new doctors who come to town. So I think a lot about how to attract them and what they're thinking about when they move to communities, often healthy living and accessibility to the outdoors. So once we get our audience and we start there, let's just call that step one. And then it becomes the question of, what do I want to say to the audience? And you can say any number of things, but I think what's most attractive to watch and kind of that hook to bring them in is, what's their challenge? And so let's use the Silicon Slopes as an example. That challenge might be, are you a celebrity who just can't find the home they're looking for in Utah to go skiing with, right? Like, you've set up the audience and you set up their challenge. And if anyone is having that, they're most likely going to watch the next 45 seconds. I chose this great little graphic I ripped off of Canva of the 3%, because what we're seeing a lot right here is everyone's got a mortgage at 3% who bought in the last 2 years or refinanced. And so the biggest challenge for that group when thinking about selling is typically financial. In their mind, they're thinking, I don't care if I make 300 grand on the sale, I got to go back to 5.5%, 6% interest rate. So what is the solution to that challenge? Well, we'll keep working on that later. The out-of-staters, their challenge could be relocating. That could be a big deal. What are they leaving behind? Do they even know how to move across state? When I work with out-of-staters, the first thing I have to talk about is internet. We're just getting fiber in Maine, and to some people, that's like, what? I was at a building inspection on Monday, and the guy had Starlink because there was no other internet around. and that's normal and that's fine and it all works. But that could be a challenge of someone relocating. And then for the downsizers, there might be a challenge of space. How do we think about space? You know, do you need everything you have in your attic, mom? You know, maybe not. She doesn't have an attic anymore, let's be honest. But I've filled that dumpster already. We've been there. So just going back to a few of the other audiences, you know, Bill, I'll throw it to you. You gave the example of, you know, someone coming to Maine for lobster. We transitioned that to someone who might want to buy an investment that they could stay in. You know, what might their challenge be in thinking about that move?
You're asking me that question, what their challenge might be?
Yeah, I'm just putting you right on the spot, Bill.
Yeah, sure are. What I've always learned is if you don't know the answer, segue away from it into something else. But I really do think that one target area that you could really try to go after an area where the real estate is really high. Like, for example, I'm from Canada. And so like Toronto, for example, real estate is super, super high in price, right? Yeah. Whereas if they come out to Alberta, where I live, you know, the real estate is, you know, a lot less in money, right? And so therefore, that's one way you could try to attract people, you know, just in the same way, the out-of-staters to come to, say, Maine. Now, I don't know what your real estate prices are in Maine right now, if they're high or low, but, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great buy. You want to buy? No.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, there could be a move there for someone's challenge that the cost of living is becoming too high, right? And then there might be an educational moment about other areas to think about living.
Especially if people, I don't mean to cut you off there, but before the bird flies out of the cage, I was just going to mention, for example, when people retire, that is perfect for them to try to find an area that's, you know, lower priced in the real estate market, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of people in Maine who moved to Florida and New Hampshire just because there's no income tax.
Yeah,
exactly. So that becomes a common, literally, snowbirds, we call them, to keep that bird out of that cage.
Right.
One idea I had for you, Bill, for your lobster going people is, you know, sometimes the challenge might just be they don't know that we have management companies for their Airbnb if they want to buy a rental up here. So when they come in July to eat their lobster, the other 11 months out of the year, their place could be totally taken care of. I like to find challenges and solutions that may continue to show our ability to problem solve, but also our knowledge and expertise in the market. And I think that can be an easy way to, again, take that audience if they're coming up to Maine once a year for lobster. Maybe they're sick of paying $800 a night for a hotel. Could that money be better spent in an investment that might give a bigger return in the long run? And then helping that get through that challenge of, well, we could be with you every step of the way. It kind of creates just like a really fun creativity, for lack of a better term, in this game. You get a little bit of a detective and a little bit of a movie person, because you're creating the plot, you're creating the character, and then you're providing kind of the finale or the solution at the end. Exactly. It's all about keeping it fun and light, because we know our business isn't always that way. So we can always control our output and how we do it and kind of what we put out into the world. And it's fun. People, I find, will DM you when you come up with a new idea or something pretty creative, and it can't always hit every time, but the more you put out, the more consistent you get with it. I bet the more often you'll find people really enjoying it and engaging with you.
Right.
Awesome. All right. And then we get to the solution. Now, this is what I had in mind. I've got 2 active participants, which I'm greatly appreciative. I welcome anyone else, Steph, Brian, Samuel, Purvi, Tamika. Thank you all for being here. So I just thought, does anyone want to take a stab at a 15-second video, we could just do it right to camera. We can come up with the audience together. We can come up with a challenge, and we can come up with a solution, and just roll with it. The key is you can't fail in class. So nothing to lose. Oh, I just gave you permission. And I will say, if to give this video context, this would probably be a selfie style video, whether it's a reel, Instagram story, could be a YouTube short. But the idea being, we just had this moment of inspiration. We want to act on this impulse. We woke up and prepped our body and our mind and our breath. And now we have this idea that we think could catapult our business forward. So why wouldn't we do it? Who wants to start? Who wants to do it? Let's do it. All right, Randy, pick an audience we talked about.
Okay, an audience we talked about, an out-of-stater.
All right, we got an out-of-stater, and for sake of this, you are the agent. You live in Utah, so you can keep it local to you. All right, Bill, what is a challenge we can give Randy that we think an out-of-stater might have who's looking at Utah for real estate?
What are the benefits of buying real estate in Utah versus anywhere else?
Okay, so the challenge would be maybe they don't. Are there some big benefits, Randy?
Well, you know, where I'm at, we're in a big fishbowl, so we're not getting any extra land. So there's
There you go.
exclusivity.
Okay, so I guess the challenge here for the out-of-staters, the challenge is that they're thinking about New Mexico, they're thinking about Utah, and they're thinking about Arizona, right? So you have the challenge of pulling their attention away from two other major states, let's say, okay? I think it's a little weak to say grab attention because we're all trying to do that, but for the sake of this, I think that's a good way to think about it, right? Like, all right, and then what is the solution, Randy, since you're the local expert?
To grab their attention.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. So grabbing their attention from Arizona and New Mexico. I think we have an incredible family style feel as a state. I think neighbors are always willing to help one another out. I've been doing some gardening lately, and I've had several neighbors stop by like, hey, can we help you? So I think overall we're just a little bit friendlier in person. You know, we aren't as wavy, but
Yeah.
in person, you know, I'm bringing a shovel to help you out.
I was gonna say, I'm standing here with a spade and a watering pail. What do we got? Okay, so Randy, we got the audience is the out-of-stater. The challenge is a lot of out-of-staters are looking at 3 different states. And so we want them to know about the benefits of living in Utah. And your solution is going to be the incredible style and familial feel of the community in and around you. And you might throw in a little personal tidbit about gardening to really make them be like, God, I love that guy. Love that guy. All right, you think you'd give us that video in 15 seconds or less?
15 seconds or less.
Or 20?
It's going to be tough, I think, especially on a drive run. But yeah, one second.
I think you should set up your phone and record this anyways, just for posterity.
Yes.
And then we're all going to throw up our hands in huge applause.
All right.
All right, we'll be quiet. You do your thing.
Sure. Hey guys, this is Randy with the Utah Life Real Estate Group. If you've been thinking about relocating to Utah, I have great news. We are one big community. Utah is a huge state, but we are all one big family. If you need anything while you're out and about, we are typically willing to offer a helping hand. So if you're looking into other communities, consider us first. We're more than willing to help. See you soon.
Give it up. How did that feel? How did it feel?
You know, I felt it should have been a little more scripted, but you know, hey, that's what it is.
I thought he sure did a lot better than I would have done, you know, but I still want to come to Maine for the lobster.
For sure. Yes. Yeah. Well, I can't compete with lobster. I got nice red rocks.
Yeah. And when he talks about bringing over a shovel, I get a little nervous. Forget it.
Tamika threw you some love in the chat. Tamika, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. My takeaway was that you had great energy. You were super authentic. And yeah, you could have scripted it, but I guarantee you, after doing that 20 seconds, if you did it again, you would say everything you wanted to, you know, and like, boom, less than 90 seconds of your life. You've just created a great video. You've established yourself as a realtor in your local market. You add that garden bit back in and you show a little bit about what you like and your personality, and then you're building rapport within your audience out there. So for a audience challenge solution we just pulled out of thin air, I think that was incredible and an awesome example. So thank you. If I had an apple, I would virtually throw it to you. Awesome.
You did do very well, Randy. You really did, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, great. I want to leave a little bit of time for questions. So Randy, again, thank you so much. If anyone wants to do that, we can do it again right after this next slide. Feel free to jump in. It's really important to start incorporating some type of warm up. I do this for running. Oftentimes the physical exercise, we warm up the body. Our video, which I think is one of our greatest assets as realtors, should be just as serious as the body, or how we view it. So having your mouth warmed up, your breath, your energy, your style, whatever, dressing up, if that makes you feel good and feel confident. If you have a hat you love, I'm wearing painted shoes right now that I really love. It gives me confidence from the ground floor up. Just do it, have fun with it. There are no rules, right? There's no real book on how you need to do it. There are all these different tools you can put into your kit, and you want to take what works. And hopefully this audience challenge solution is just one more tool you can have in your kit. And make sure you budget the time in your day to post. This can be a challenge in our life. I'm guilty of it, and I have to really focus on, you know, when am I going to do it? What am I going to say? And really make sure that happens. And use us for accountability. I'm always down to text someone if they need help for a couple of weeks to post every day. I'll DM you, I'll text you, whatever it needs. I think that's what's great about this company, is everyone, you know, wants to see each person succeed, and we can all stay connected in such an easy way through social media and our phones.
If I could just take a moment, just to add something, if that's okay. Would
Please.
that be all right, Chris?
Sure. What are you going to add?
Well, I know you're on, you know, there's time limitations, I'm sure. But anyways, no, I just wanted to add, I really do agree with you about, you know, preparing your own mindset as well for the video that you're going to do, and getting dressed up, I think, is very, very important. And I think having a professional image when you do a video is really, really important. And I notice both you and Randy both have ties. You've, you know, ties on, you're dressed up. And I think that's really important in the real estate industry. I think when we're wearing flip-flops and we haven't shaved, you know, in 3 days, and we, you know, we got a t-shirt on, I just don't think that gives a real professional image. You know,
Yeah.
You know, why should a person want to hire someone like that to sell their home? You know?
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to offer too much perspective on that, but I think it's whatever makes the person show up and feel amazing. There's someone out there who's going to be relatable to that. And some people might love the flip-flop, but for me personally, the flip-flop doesn't do it for me. But our world is constantly changing and people are dressing up, dressing down. I often think, like, it's your uniform, and have so much fun with your uniform. Whatever that uniform is that defines you. There's a great guy out of Florida, Brian, who always does his videos in a tank top, and he's ripped, and he's got the longest hair, and he absolutely slays it. And he's attracting his vibe and his tribe, and that's working for him. But Bill, to your point, yes, I think there is still a need for those of us who love putting on a tie in the morning. This is my Instagram. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Tends to be better than email, just because things get lost for the transactions. If you did want to check out any of the TV shows, it's Main Life Media. And I always throw up my wife's account because she takes the best photos of my kids. But Tamika already reached out, but DM me for collaboration. Always continue for one video reel a week. So that's usually on Instagram and or a short. You can cross promote everything on all your channels if that's helpful. 3 stories a week with some type of talking point or perspective. Feel free to DM for inspiration. We're going to be back second Tuesday in June. And I think I have my schedule up. Here's more contact info. And
could you go back again? Sorry, to your info there. I just wanted to copy, if I could, your email address, if you don't mind.
Not at all. And you can go to placesinmaine.com. You'll see me and my team there. Next week or next class, we're going to talk about content planning. So today we focused on just one technique to get you in front of the camera, to give you a framework, to get perspective out to your audience. And then next time I want to focus on, how we can look at our week and our month to plan out content to help keep us accountable and keep us in front of our audience.
Right. How long would you say a video should actually be in length?
It's a great question. And I find it really just depends on where it's going. YouTube likes long form, assuming it's engaging, that could be 8 to 10 minutes. My Instagram reels try to stick to 60 seconds. My Instagram stories, sometimes they get really long-winded. TikTok lends itself to pretty short form as well. So for instance, using the example of like going to the coffee shop and seeing the barista, you figure you probably have 30 seconds or less to keep that person engaged with that video.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I find personally, because time is always the essence, when you see someone's video and it's 48 minutes and everything, I think that's, I'm sorry, I haven't got an hour to spend watching, so you don't bother.
Yeah. Oftentimes it's like kind of the timestamp fear. You see the timestamp of the whole video, but in reality, for some videos, it's just a search engine. So if at the 16th minute of a 20th minute video, you're talking about where to find the best price lobster in Maine, you have to believe a bunch of people type into Google, where do I get the best price lobster in Maine? They're more likely to put that portion of the video up to say your answer could be found here. So there's value in having longer form with content that is built kind of for the algorithm, we like to say. But a lot of the stuff I do too is just quick hits on social media to be engaging, to be quick, but provide value.
Mm-hmm. You just did give me a really good idea right now. The light bulb went off,
Sweet.
And
awesome.
It doesn't go off too often,
Well, once you post that video, tag me with the light bulb so I can be like, that was the light bulb. Awesome, guys. Well, this is my info. We are at time. I want to thank you so much. Please join me again in June. Bill, Randy, Alex, Tamika, Purvi, Steph, Samuel. I know Andrew hopped on for a minute. Thank you all so much for your time. I know we're all busy and it means a lot to have you spend an hour with me, and I hope it was valuable. Reach out anytime and let's make the video.
Thank you very much. And it was a real pleasure.
Likewise. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, you bet. Bye, Chris. Bye, Randy. Take care. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.